In our darkest times, we reach out for help. We cling to faith. We search for light. And sometimes in those dark hours, we witness a bit of magic.
Everleigh. Oh, what you doing? What you doing?
We see hope as people we need find us, easing the darkness and reminding us that we are all connected, like stars, perfectly aligned and shining with love. Tyson Deck was born and raised in Graham, Texas. It's about 90 miles northwest of Fort Worth with a population of about 10,000, not counting the cattle and horses. It's credited with having the largest downtown square in the United States. It's also where Tyson married Taylor.
We met in 2015 at a dance hall. That's a story we'll save for another day. And then we got married in 2020 at the height of COVID.
Tyson built them a barn dominium on 56 acres just outside of town. Their precious baby girl, Everleigh, was born on December 19th, 2022. They felt blessed beyond measure. It seemed like the stars had aligned.
It wasn't until about probably 5-6 weeks I could start telling that her skin on her chest every once in a while looked jaundiced, but then it would go away. Me being how I am, I'm like Googling everything. And of course this disease pops up and I'm like, there's just no way she has this. And every time I looked at her, I was like, there's something about her that looks yellow to me. I'm Googling more about this biliary atresia.
They called their pediatrician, who ordered labs. Pretty quickly, the doctor called back, telling them to go straight to the ER at Cook Children's Hospital in Fort Worth.
It was hard to soak in that something was wrong with her.
They got the diagnosis the next day. Taylor was right. It was biliary atresia.
Instantly, when we were told that, I was just numb, and that was probably the day of the diagnosis was probably the darkest day of the whole journey for me.
And incredibly heartbroken.
Yeah.
She had surgery to create a different way for the bile to drain. It worked for about 3 weeks. Then she stopped eating. She ended up with an NG tube to feed her through her nose 24 hours a day. Keeping up with the tube, the pump, the special formula was hard, especially since she kept pulling it out.
Tough holding your baby down while mom stuffs the tube back down her nose.
Yeah. It's even harder to see your baby's belly fill up and harden with fluid. About every 2 weeks, they'd have to take her back to the hospital to have it drained.
It just slowly got worse and worse and worse.
She was referred to the liver transplant program at Children's Medical Center in Dallas. She was officially listed for transplant and placed on the waiting list for a liver when she was just 6 months old.
We're just hoping that we get the call that they have a liver, which is such a bittersweet call because who wants to pray for that on the other side of it? And who wants to get that call on the other side of it? But then you're also wanting your daughter to live.
But they knew she was rapidly running out of time. At Everleigh's next appointment, they asked for one of the transplant surgeons.
So he thankfully was available that day and came in and spoke with us, and we said, hey, she is declining, we feel like very rapidly. We want another option. What do we need to do? Where do we need to go?
He recommended University Health Transplant Institute in San Antonio. It's one of the few centers in the country offering living donor liver transplants for pediatric patients. He put in the referral. The next day, they got a call.
We spent 3 hours on the phone with various people from University Health, Figueroa, Mattal, the finance team, the coordinators, and immediately didn't feel like a number. We felt like family.
Yep. Immediately, Figueroa was like, we will find a liver.
That is exactly what they needed to hear. Seemed like the stars were starting to line up again. They made the 5-hour drive to University Health.
I don't think me and Tyson realized how sick Everleigh was. Because we get to San Antonio, and we were just thinking, like, we're just looking for a plan B. Like, this is just, like, after the first of the year type thing. And Siguro was like, no, like, if we find a living donor tomorrow, we're going to do it.
After the first day of her outpatient evaluation, Everleigh got really sick. She was admitted to University Hospital, and that's where they met Dr. Fritzy.
I remember Everleigh for the first time, she has these gigantic eyes that just seem to be taking absolutely everything in. I remember her smiling despite being so jaundiced and so sick, just thinking how remarkable that was. Both Taylor and Tyson asked just incredibly insightful questions. It was so obvious how much her parents loved her and how they would do anything. The liver is an incredible organ. It has 8 different segments, and each of those segments has everything that it needs to function basically independently. And for a child who is as small as Everleigh, we're usually looking at the left lateral segment. So that is 2 segments out of the 8. It's usually about the size and shape of kind of the palm of your hand. So you can imagine setting your hand on the belly of an infant.
With all of their questions answered, they made the decision to move forward. They assumed one of them would be able to be Everleigh's donor.
It did not work out that either of them was the right match for Everleigh.
That's when they learned about the Champion for Life program.
University Health sent us a picture of what would have been a flyer with Everleigh's picture and living donor information and how to get to the website. And Taylor posted that picture on Facebook. This picture went viral, and from my page and her page, I believe it was shared 300 and something times the first day. And then one of us posted a video of her, and that video before in the next couple of days had like 23,000 views, something like that.
As potential donors started reaching out for testing, the Deck family drove home to wait. The next time Everleigh got sick, it was really bad. She ended up in the ICU at Children's in Dallas.
And I was really scared. We were running out of time. Like, our daughter was dying. In the meantime, San Antonio is communicating with us, telling us what they can of how it's going, finding somebody, that they've got all these people applying.
In fact, interested donors were coming forward so fast, it was difficult to book appointments for all of them.
But at one point, Shayna was like, you can tell everybody to stop. And we were like, no. Not until you'll have a liver picked out, we're not stopping.
That original Facebook post had gone up Sunday before Labor Day.
By Thursday that following week, Wichita Falls had done the news story, Midland, Odessa had done the news story, Abilene, Texas had done the story, San Angelo had done the story, Austin had done the story. I had talked to people from Montana, from Pennsylvania, from Georgia, from Florida.
It was just crazy.
In less than 2 weeks, 1,154 people contacted the Transplant Institute. They'd never had that kind of response before.
You turn on the news and there's often a lot of bad news, but I think that what isn't always as obvious is how caring and generous people really are. I'm always encouraged and grateful for, the hundreds of people that come forward to say, I will do this for a loved one or for a stranger,
One of those people was Chrissy Reed. Her grandparents are related to Tyson's grandparents, but she didn't really know him.
The last time I saw him, he was a baby because he's 10 years younger than me.
Back when everyone was first joining Facebook, she found his profile.
I saw him and I'm like, okay, we're friends, but he's not a big social media, But I'm like, but you're family and I know you, so we're going to be friends.
More than a decade later, she saw the post about Everleigh.
Oh yeah, I was, on Facebook trying to catch up with everybody, and Tyson had just posted that they started the campaign for looking for a living donor and what the, specifications that they needed, female, petite, and I was like, well, I'm definitely all those things, and if that's what they need. Given that I know I'm related to him, there's a good chance.
How could she not at least try?
Honestly, it felt very right.
She got a call from the transplant team.
I mean, it was within like 24 hours. I got a phone call and them saying, hey, want to do a little interview? And I was like, okay. So they asked me a bunch of questions, and then the next phone call was, hey, you want to come in, give us some of your blood? I was like, okay.
They focused on people who were relatively young, healthy, and kind of smaller framed. When we're talking about a living donor, that's somebody who does not need an operation for their own health, right? And I think that we've all sworn an oath to help and not harm, right? And so I don't think that we could possibly take it more seriously or find it more weighty to operate on somebody who doesn't need surgery. And also we understand that facilitating and making it possible for somebody to do something that generous to save the life of another person is also sacred.
Chrissy reached out to Tyson to let him know she might be the match.
So it was after they were more confident that I was a match, and then they were doing all the, fine tuning. It was everything. MRI, CT, I got my gynecological exam. Everything. I was like, I don't think I need to do my annual physical this year.
She was actually downtown when she got the call.
You are the top candidate. You are the person. And she said, how does that make you feel? And I was like, honored that I had something and it was helpful.
She went straight to the hospital for the last checkup. Final clearance came via text that evening. The surgery was a go for the next morning. Tyson was going to drive her.
Tyson was all worked up. He was like, are you sure you want to give me your address? Because if you back out, I know where you live. And I was like, oh, Tyson. But yeah, I was like, yeah, you're still picking me up at 4 a.m.
All of a sudden, I'm picking her up to
Save my daughter's life.
save my daughter's life. And yeah, it was pretty wild.
It was the first time they'd seen each other since Tyson was a baby. But it all felt right.
She just handed me all her belongings, keys to her house, whole 9 yards, and went into surgery.
It was wild. And so Tyson stayed with Chrissy the morning of the surgery, like during pre-op, and I stayed with Everleigh. And at one point, I was like, I feel like I need to go meet her. And so Tyson, switched with me, and he sat with Everleigh, and I went and sat with Chrissy.
Both surgeries went according to plan.
So Chrissy was in one operating room with Dr. Claire and his team. And then Dr. Sigaroa and I were in the operating room with Everleigh. Everything's coordinated. Once Chrissy's liver was prepared for transplant, we removed Everleigh's liver and then started connecting all the blood vessels. And it's beautiful because once you take your clamps off and restore blood flow to that liver, to the new liver, it started making bile almost immediately.
Everleigh's operation took about 12 hours.
Honestly, that was like the
The
easiest
easiest day of the whole thing was surgery day.
We were so at peace with it. We had complete and total trust in Dr. Fritzy and Dr. Sigaroa. I don't know how to explain it. The day was full of joy. I was not at all worried about Everleigh because we knew this was her only hope.
After the operation, Dr. Fritzy and Dr. Sigaroa went to talk to the family.
I don't think either one of us wanted to miss, being able to let them know that, that their daughter was okay, that the new liver was really just perfect for her, and that she was doing well and was safe.
Dr. Fritzy visited Chrissy that same evening.
I wanted Chrissy to know as soon as possible that that the operation had gone well, that Everleigh was safe, that the liver she donated was, fit her like a glove. I wanted Chrissy to know that what she'd done was an incredible thing.
The liver worked perfectly, but Everleigh had to be reintubated to help with pain control.
She wasn't quite ready to breathe without that support yet. And then it was a process keeping her comfortable and also weaning all the pain medications and sedation medications that she'd had while she was on the ventilator. And that can be a process, especially with a child who is that sick.
After they were able to wean her off the ventilator, Chrissy got to take a field trip to Everleigh's room.
Chrissy just rolled herself up there with her IV ball.
Yeah.
Came in there and met her.
Yeah.
Looking back, that was the moment.
I think that probably really hit her, like what she had just done. She gave Everleigh her first birthday because she would not have made it to her first birthday. She gave her a lot of firsts. Gave us a lot of firsts.
They were relatives before. Now they are family.
It was a few weeks later when she was actually awake. I got to go see her again when she could sit up and play and, not being around people because of her being immune compromised. She tolerated me very well. So I was like, oh, good. I wouldn't take offense to it either way, but good. We're friends now.
Taylor and Everleigh stayed in San Antonio for about a month and a half because of all of the follow-up visits. Coming home was amazing.
I remember when we walked in, she was just like, it took her a long time to realize that this was home because she spent so much time in the hospital.
Chrissy loves watching her grow and learn.
Learning how to eat food, that was a messy adventure. That Tyson and Taylor were super patient.
Good swallow.
Teaching any tiny human to eat food, but Everleigh hadn't eaten ever. So learning how to swallow, just watching her make a mess and learn.
Another special day was their liverversary in September of 2024.
Cheese.
Our 1-year anniversary. Went to Graham, had a weekend celebration with the family, and just had a cookout and party to celebrate being alive.
Chrissy was the one, but Taylor printed out every one of the messages, stories, and social posts. She wants to be sure Everleigh understands how many people stepped up to donate and to pray.
That's amazing. That child should always know, beyond any shadow of a doubt, how loved she is, right? Honestly, I am so excited to just watch her grow up and live her life, and I hope that 99.9% of the time she is, it's not even in her awareness that she's had a liver transplant. I hope she takes her medicine and then goes on with her day and lives her life.
Looking back, Taylor and Tyson see clearly how God was at work lining up all of these stars.
Not random, but incidents in our journey, like at Dallas, and the surgeon that day instead of our doctor pointed us towards San Antonio, and the way it went viral. And then the kicker for me was and I hadn't seen Chrissy since we were kids, if I'd even met her then. But the big kicker for me was out of all these people that applied from across the country, Chrissy lived 15 minutes from the hospital.
I didn't see God's hand in all of it until that post went viral. And all these people were messaging me, telling me that our faith was inspiring their faith, and Everleigh's story has inspired them to be a liver donor.
There could have been 1,000 other paths, but everything just lined up for her, for life, for success. And then looking back, you can see that thread winding through everything, making it come out so beautifully.
Everleigh's doing just great.
What are you doing with your hat like that? Just how you roll? Say cheese. 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 Where are you? Cheese. Did you get it?
The last time I saw her in clinic, it had been months, and I couldn't believe how, how much she'd grown. And you'd meet her on the street and never in a million years imagine how sick she had been. That's the whole point of all of this, right?
We all had the same goal, the same desire, for Everleigh to live and to be happy and healthy and grow and have that opportunity.
Some things are meant to be. And I think that this was one of them.
Go dance.